Just a second, please.
Hello, hello.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening. एक मिनट देना. Yeah. अरे यार जो ओपन होता है ये क्यों नहीं दिखता है यार. Is it visible now? My screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So basically, SA 8000, we see about the standard. It is about how like ISO 1000s, even this audit also an auditable standard for a third party verification. So basically, it setting out a voluntary requirements to be set by the employer in workplace, including workplace rights, workplace conditions, and management systems. Basically, if you talk about ISO 14000 and 45001, they dedicatedly talk about environment and occupational health and safety. So this SA 8000 basically talks about the workers' rights, workplace conditions, as well as the management systems which are in place. Okay. They say 8000 documents guidance. A document helps in explaining SA 8000 how it implement its requirement and provides examples of methods and verifying compliance with respect to serve the handbook of auditors and also companies seeking certification for compliance with SA 8000. So basically, who will implement this? It is basically a social standard. Okay, majorly focusing on the social aspects. When you talk about social aspects, it's moreover about the people requirements. It is a people specific standard, or facilities, or the schemes, or the features which are given, or the facilities which are given to the employees or workers. Most of the MNCs, they have the certification. So we'll see. I mean, here the definitions are not so important. We'll see the few definitions. Then we'll see the accountability requirements. These are the 9 accountability requirements which are important. Okay. So when we talk about company, as we know, basically it is an entity of any organization or business entity responsible for implementing the requirements of this standard, including all personnel employed by the company. So it is about the company which they have adopted or planning to implement this specific standard, or implementing the requirements of the standard, including all personnel employed by the company. When you say personal, it is nothing but individual men or women directly employed or contracted by the company, including directors, executives, managers, supervisors, and workers. When you say person, it is largely covered by everybody. When you talk about worker, non-management personnel, who are not the non-managerial persons, everybody will fall under worker category. Then here we also have subcontractor and all. When you talk about subcontractor, an organization which provides the company with goods and services, it is simply a supplier. For example, the company is supplying goods to your company. He is a supplier or subcontractor. When it's a subcontractor, maybe you are doing take an engineering part, you are doing only 2 3 operations on that part, and rest of the operations you are giving subcontracting. It means instead of you, on behalf of you, some other company is performing the activity. Okay. Then definition of corrective and preventive actions: an immediate and counting remedy to a non-conformance to the SA 8000. When it's a non-conformance, it is a non-fulfillment of requirement. In the sense, it is not meeting the requirement of SA 8000. Okay. Then definition of interested party. So when you say interested party, even SA, ISO, even 9,000, 14,000 and 45,000, we have interested parties. Who are interested parties? Any idea? I think people already having some experience. Because Samuel, I don't understand. What does it mean? Because, okay, fine. When we say interested party, they are nothing but who are interested on the company or operations. For example, we have two types of interested parties: external party and internal interested party. When you talk about internal interested party, all the employees, okay, all the board managing directors, workers, everybody, or even contract workers, everybody. When you talk about external interested party, we have customers, suppliers, then we have the people outside our company, and also we have regulatory requirements or legal requirements, which means departments. Those are our interested parties because they are interested on our company or activity or products. And definition of child. So any person less than 15 years of age, unless the minimum age for work or mandatory schooling is stipulated as being higher by a local law, in which case a stipulated higher age applies in that locality. Because since it is an international standard, so it is talking about a person less than 15 years of age, or sometimes the age which is defined by the local law. And also mandatory schooling should be there. As per SA 8000, the people can be hired, but they should have work for only minimum hours after their schooling. It is not mean that okay, without schooling directly a child can be hired for working in our organization. Who is, if you're hiring anybody as a child labor, he should definitely have schooling. And talk of young worker, a worker over the age of child and a defined above and under the age of 18, they are young workers. Okay. Then definition of forced and compulsory labor. So these are all the work or service that a person has not offered to do voluntarily and is made to do under a threat or punishment or retaliation, or is demanded as a means of repayment of debit. So when you say forced labor, sometimes you would have seen they. I'm not telling. I mean, all the companies. A few companies or few people, they used to threaten the people by taking the agreement or keeping the certificates of the people, or sometimes they hold the salary without releasing the salary. They try to keep the people in the company without leaving. And human trafficking, so it is nothing but the recruitment or transfer, uh, humbling or receipt of persons by means of use of threat, force, or the forms of coercion or dissipation of purpose of exploitation. It is nothing but harassment. The definition of home worker, a person who is contracted by a company or by a supplier, a sub supplier or subcontractor, but does not work on their premises. It means they are the employees, but they will take the work to their home. They will take the things. For example, especially females, they used to do this home workers. They will take their quantity and they'll go home and stitch. For example, especially you see in the textile, small scale textile industries, they'll do a job work. They will take all the material to their home. They will do the stitching, and again by evening or depends on the time, they will come back to the organization. They will submit the number of units they have stitched or produced. Okay. So definition of SA 8000 worker representative. It means a worker representative, a worker chosen to facilitate communication with senior management on matters related to SA 8000, undertaken by the recognized trade union in the unionized facilities and elsewhere by a worker elected by non-management personnel on that purpose. So as we see in safety committee, in safety committee what will happen? We have two group of people. One is management representatives, and other one is non-management representatives. Okay, in the management representatives, one second. In the management representatives, we have all the managerial people. In the non-management representatives, we have all the workers. How they will selected? They will be selected. Management people will be selected from the each departments. Also, workers also selected from the each department. If it is a union, union people will select. Otherwise, if it is not in a union, the workers can their own can elect one person to talk behalf of the all the worker on the SA 8000 requirement. In the safety committee, what will happen? These worker representative will talk on the safety, health and safety aspects behalf of all the people. The selected people is going to represent. Then management representative, basically a member of senior management personnel appointed by the company to ensure that the requirements of the standards are met. So here is the management themselves, they appoint a person. Then collective bargaining agreement. So basically it is nothing but a contract for labor negotiated between an employer or group of employers and one or more worker organizations with specifies the terms and conditions of the employment. Basically, it is nothing but the unions, what they come up with the collective bargaining with the employers. One second, guys. Yeah. So when I say collective bargaining, if you're already working in any company where there is an union, so they used to come up with a set of requirements or terms and conditions of the employment as well as their this thing, even increments also they used to demand. Okay, next for 3 years they will get increment of this much. They'll have a standard defined terms and conditions with the management. That is nothing but a collective bargaining. All unionized employees together, they will come and negotiate with the management. Okay. Then now we'll talk about the social accountability requirements. What exactly now you would have understood where we are leading to. It is talking about the organization. It is talking about the entity. It is talking about worker representatives and management representatives. It is talking about child labor and forced labor, etc., human trafficking, home workers. So majorly this SA 8000 social accountability standard focusing on the people aspects in a organization. When I talk about the requirement, child labor, that is the first requirement. The company shall not engage in or support the use of child labor as defined. So no company should allow to use a child labor. So the company shall establish, document, maintain, and effectively communicate to the person and other interested parties policies and written procedures for remediation of children found to be working in the situations which fit the definition of child labor above, shall provide adequate financial and other support to enable such children to attend and remain in school until no longer a child has defined above. So for example, I make it simplify. So if you the company founds maybe in their contractors or subcontractors or suppliers or sub suppliers, the company has to support the child to be in school till they complete their age, I mean above 18. When I say 18 above, so they are adult. So till the definition requirement, they have to financially support the child to continue their education. And third point, the company may employ young workers, but where such young workers are subjected to compulsory education law, they may work only outside of school hours. Under no circumstances shall any young workers school work and transportation time exceed a combined total of 10 hours per day, and is and in no case shall the young workers work more than 8 hours a day. So when I talk about, we can take the young workers, not child labor or child worker. We can take the young workers, but they should have schooling compulsory. They have to go school. At the half hours they can work. How like we do a part-time job. Okay, they should not exceed their school work and transportation should not exceed more than 10 hours, and in no case shall young worker work more than 8 hours a day. One is all together school plus transport plus the work together more than, it should not lead 10 hours, and also he should not allow to work more than 8 hours. 8 hours से ज़्यादा काम करना है, अभी उनका स्कूल और जो आने जाने का टाइम फिर एक काम का, ये तीनों मिला के 10 hours से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. And also young workers are not work during night hours, especially night shifts. इन लोग नाइट शिफ्ट में नहीं डालना चाहिए. They are not supposed to work or not supposed to take to work in night shifts. Then the company shall not expose children or young workers to any situations in or outside the workplace that are hazardous or unsafe to their physical and mental health and development. So here you can take the young workers, they should not exceed 10 hours, and also they should not exceed 8 hours working more than a day, and also they are not supposed to be positioned, or they are not supposed to be uh, hired for any harmful or hazardous work areas where they can physically or mentally they can disturb and their development as well, which means any hazardous process, any chemical activities, or heavy machineries, they are not supposed to be employed. Okay. Okay. Forced and compulsory labor. So here we have the criteria. A company shall not engage in or support the use of forced or compulsory labor as defined ILO Convention 29, nor shall personnel be required to pay deposits or lodge identification papers with the company upon the commencing the employment. Forced or compulsory labor is nothing but the people are forced or people are targeted to perform the activities without their interest. When you say forced, these are, excuse me, yeah, these are people not willing to perform any activity. Neither the company nor any entity supplying a labor to a to the company shall withhold any part of a person's salary, benefits, property, or documents in order to force such personnel to continue working for the company. 2.2. For example, if you take the contractor, sometimes what will happen? The contractor maybe used to hire the people, they won't give the salary, but they used to keep the people under them, or sometimes they hold the documents. Okay, that is how they used to do, but it is not supposed to be. They have to release them on time.
सर नवनीत बात कर रहा हूँ सर.
Hmm?
हाँ सर, थोड़ा लेट से वो क्लास ज्वाइन किया, थोड़ा सा लास्ट में बता देंगे क्या क्या बताएं
हाँ हाँ
अभी
हाँ हाँ,
जल्दी से
नहीं
करें.
बताएंगे.
ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू सर.
ओके, थैंक यू. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना, सो जो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स है जो ठीक से सैलरी नहीं देता है, घुमाता रहता है, फिर डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी उनके उनके पास रखता है, ठीक है. दिस प्रैक्टिसेस शुड नॉट बी happen. And personnel shall have the right to leave the workplace premises after completing the standard work day and be free to terminate their employment provided that they gave a reasonable notice to their employer. So see, this is also one of the requirement. After the completion of activity, we have right to leave. They should not be forced to work beyond the hours. If he is interested, he can be allowed to do extra hours. Otherwise, he have right to leave the premises. And one more, free to terminate their employment, which means a person can leave the company by providing a reasonable notice period. So he, when I do a notice period, so beyond the notice period, the employer will not have any right to hold you back. So you have to give, or you have to work for the reasonable time or the company defined notice period, then you can leave the company. So again, companies human trafficking, it is nothing but harassment, we should not do. Okay, that is the second requirement. Then we have third requirement, which is health and safety. The company shall provide a safe and healthy workplace environment and shall take effective steps to prevent potential accidents and injury to workers. Health arising out of, associated with, or occurring in occurrence of work by minimizing so far as it is reasonably practicable. It means what we have to do, the company has to provide all the legal requirements, okay, or health and safety requirements to the employees. Okay, they have to provide the all the health and safety provisions. For example, providing a safe workplace, machines are having safety controls in place, you are doing proper environmental monitoring, and also you are mm, providing all the exhaust systems in case of any fumes which are releasing from your machineries or operations to the extent or practically possible, and the causes of hazards inherent in workplace environment, and bearing in mind the prevailing knowledge and also industry for the specific hazards. Okay, so whatever the hazards which are in the company, it has to be identified and the people should be known to that. Then the company shall appoint a senior management representative to be responsible for ensuring a safe and healthy workplace environment for all the personnel, and also for implementing the health and safety elements of this standard. It is nothing but hiring a safety officer to make sure that the implementation of all the safety aspects and the implementation of the standard requirements. The company shall provide to a personnel on a regular basis effective health and safety instructions, including on-site instructions, uh, on-site instructions, and where it is needed, job-specific instructions. It is nothing but on-site safety rules and regulations. When I talk about job-specific instructions, are nothing but job safety or on-the-job training. They have to get basic safety training as well as on-the-job training. Such instruction shall be repeated for new and also reassigned personnel, and in the case of where accidents are occurred. So those trainings can be repeated for the new joinees, reassigned personnel, and also in the case of where the accidents have occurred. So it is nothing but retraining or refresher training has to be conducted. And the company shall establish systems to detect, avoid, or respond to potential threats to the health and safety of the personnel. And the company shall maintain written records of all accidents that occur in the workplace and in the company controlled residences and properties. So basically, the company shall establish systems to detect, avoid, and respond to the potential threats. In the sense, you should have a reporting system. You should have near miss reporting system. You should have hazard identification and risk assessment. You should have uh, unsafe actions and unsafe conditions reporting system in place. Okay, and also the company shall maintain written records of all the accidents that occur in the workplace and in company controlled residence and property. So you should have a record for all the accidents and incidents in your premises. And 3.5, the company shall provide at its expenses appropriate personal protective equipment to the personnel. It is a even in the Factories Act, not only SA 8000, Factories Act also is talking about we have to provide, or the company has to provide on free of charge the PPs which are required for the employees. And second, I got a message. Okay, please explain Hindi. Okay, sure. Okay, basically whatever the PPs which are required, so those PPs has to be provided to the workers on free of basis. जो भी पीपीस है, पीपी मतलब पर्सनल प्रोटेक्टिव इक्विपमेंट है, वो हेलमेट हो गया, जूता हो गया, तरह फेस शील्ड हो गया, तो जो कपड़ा होता है, जो वेल्डिंग का जो एप्रन होता है, ग्लव्स होता है, ये पूरा है ना, उनको फ्री में देना पड़ता है. दे शुड नॉट चार्ज, but practically the few people or few contractors they used to charge, but as per the requirement it has to be given on free of charge. And also in the event of work related injury, the company shall provide first aid and assistance of the workers is obtaining a follow-up medical treatment. In case in the workplace, in case of any accident happens, the company has to bear that treatment cost, and also the follow-up medical treatment cost also the company has to bear. And the company shall undertake to assess all the risks to new and also expected mothers rising out of their work activity, and to ensure that the reasonable steps are taken to remove or reduce any risk to their health and safety. When you say expected mothers, the pregnant ladies, they have to assess the risk to the pregnant ladies. Is there any activity which is risk to their health, or we can do a job change? They have to take the reasonable steps. Mothers मतलब जो माँ बनने वाले जो प्रेग्नेंट लेडीज उनका काम पे कुछ खतरा होगा तो वो उसको भी डिटेक्ट करके हम लोग वो खतरे को कम करना पड़ता है. The company shall provide for use by all personnel access to clean toilet or facilities, access to potable water, and also where applicable sanitary facilities for uh, food storage. So basically, they have to provide the toilets or urinal facilities to the all the employees. Okay. Then food storage, they have to provide proper sanitary facilities or the racks to store the people food. The company shall ensure that any dormitory facilities provided for personnel are clean, safe, and meet the basic needs of the personnel. When I say dormitory, it is nothing but uh, like hostel facilities or stay facilities. Some of the companies they provide shelter also, so those dormitory facilities should be clean and also safe, meet some basic needs of the personnel. When you say basic needs, you should have some bed or to sleep or light or toilets, etc. etc. All personnel shall have the right to remove themselves from the imminent serious danger without seeking permission from the company. When you say imminent danger, it is nothing but a problem or hazard or khatara. So when he see or found any such situation, he can immediately escape, immediately go away from that hazard, और खतरे से हम लोग उधर से भाग सकते हैं बिना परमिशन का, और कंपनी से किसी का परमिशन लेने का जरूरत नहीं. अभी आग लग रहा है और आग हो गया, when something is fire action happen, or we wait till the manager say yes, okay, now you can run, or immediately we'll run, right? Immediately we'll escape from that. जो भी खतरा होता है, मतलब एक्सीडेंट होने के लिए चांस होता है, आप उसको देखेगा तो मतलब आपको लगता है तो इधर एक्सीडेंट होने के वाला है, सो इधर यू कैन एस्केप फ्रॉम दैट इमीडिएट प्लेस. ठीक है, आपको खुद को बचाने के लिए आप उधर से भाग सकता है. ओके, दैट इज अबाउट रिक्वायरमेंट 3. And requirement 4, freedom of association and right to collective bargaining. Okay, so when I say freedom of association, so it is nothing but you can start work